Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging the moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging the moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's home.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish Hunt Northwest. Wayne England, Kelly Barnum. Back here in studio, of course, David over there in IT Corner getting it done for this evening, and we will be joined later in the kitchen again by Chef Kelly Lance O'Neill and his wonderful assistant Sherry. And did she knock it out of the park with those egg rolls, Barnum?
Yeah, I'm going to take a nap.
It's become one of your favorites, to say the least.
Delicious.
We were actually discussing before the show that, you know what, maybe just because we always talk about our dinner parties and the shenanigans that go on before the actual show,
right,
we may post up a phone on a tripod and actually just let folks kind of check that out, a little live stream dinner action, kind of see what goes on behind the scenes. But we'll do that maybe after the first of the year. This is, in fact, our last show of 2019.
Yep.
Next show will be January 2nd, 2020. We're taking the Christmas week off, which is good because you decided to head south.
Hell yeah, I saw the weather report and went, see ya.
We're loading up in the metallic green, pea green family truckster, and we're heading to California.
Right.
Going to Wally World? What you doing?
I don't know. We're going all over the place.
Okay, cool.
We're
right on.
Go explore California again.
Perfect. Yeah, so get out of this weather. We're going to speak of weather. We are going to talk weather later in the show. I know for those that are chomping at the bit to get out steelhead fishing, one, there's no fish, so you're not missing a whole lot. Two, there's tons of water, so you're not missing a whole lot. So you couple those together, no fish and high water, you know what, might be time to go shoot some ducks or head to the east side. Winter walleye, I hear, is a thing now, right?
Yeah.
So we got other things to talk about, but we'll get you there. Hey, I want to remind everybody, Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Real Estate over in Puyallup, Washington. We thank them for that. With that, I want to remind folks, hey, join us here each and every week on Facebook as we stream live. And, of course, jump over to our YouTube channel. If you're watching right now, pick up your phone, get to our YouTube channel at Fish Hunt NW or Fish Hunt Northwest. Give us a subscribe. Let's start building that number over there as it's starting to take off for us. Really appreciate the support there. Check us out on Instagram. Throughout the week, Barnum and I post a lot of content on our Facebook page and our Instagram account. And also, we continue to load up videos on our YouTube channel, and if we can ever get back to fishing, we're going to start getting some of our outdoor activity posted up into videos and a lot of how-tos and things like that. So please join us each and every day of the week. Check in with us on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Go to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Do us a favor, and we really appreciate that. So with that, Barnum, I think you noticed earlier in the week they came out with announcements for closures on the North Puget Sound rivers, which is comprised of the Snohomish, Skycomish, Snoqualmie, Wallace, and the Stillaguamish system.
Yep.
7 rivers in total. They all kind of meld together up there. But I was reading some articles as to what's going on and made some phone calls. I ended up talking with Ed Eliezer yesterday, Region 4 Program Manager, very forthcoming with information. And I got off the phone and I had nothing but serious concern.
Right.
I mean, we know it's bad, but when I start throwing out these numbers and the conversations I had with Ed and the concern that they have at these levels, first of all, historically throughout western Washington, we've been accustomed to fishing winter steelhead, early Chambers Creek winter steelhead. Right around Thanksgiving, you kind of, excuse me, I'm going to battle this all night because I'm still getting over that damn cold.
Right.
Anyway, so bear with me. The Chambers Creek steelhead, that's been carpet bombed throughout the West Coast for years. But it gave us the luxury and latitude of early opportunities starting right after Thanksgiving on a number of our rivers. We had opportunities in the 80s and 90s of catching steelhead, like, just amazing at times, some years. Albeit it's cyclid. Some years were just amazing bumper crops. Other years we had to work for them a little more.
Right.
But the numbers that we're posting now of what's anticipated, the preseason forecasts, and I also equate that to, if you would take time and get on the old internet and start digging up what the plant numbers are at, you're going to see where this is going.
Right.
There's a number of things weighing in here that are kind of concerning. First of all, let's back up specifically to those northern rivers that were listed as closed starting today. There was the controversy in 2014, 2015 with the Native Fish Society, the lawsuits pending against WDFW for not producing permits submitted by NOAA for them to be permitted to plant the smolt steelhead into said rivers. And they had to go to litigation, come up with an agreement. As it turned out, when it was all said and done, we lost out on a couple plant years there. Those fish were minimally put into some of the systems. The remainders went into local lakes and whatnot.
Right, remember that.
Those years and return years based off of those plants were pretty dismal. But as I look back, I started pulling up some information that was kind of interesting. This year, so that people understand, this year, winter run 2019-2020 is based off of your 2018 spring plants on your steelhead smolt, okay? Right. For the entire Puget Sound, the winter plant steelhead is 570,500 and some change, okay? 570,000 out of 9 rivers in Puget Sound. That's like a splash in the pan. Mm-hmm. That's really not that many fish when you're talking the entire Puget Sound region. I remember the Voights Creek hatchery used to kick out like 231,000 back in the 80s and 90s until they got to a point where they had 90 fish show up one year. And they're like, what are we doing, right? So the handwriting's on the wall. Things are not looking real favorable. But I want to break that down for you just a little bit more. When we back up to 2015, they only planted 504,000, but that was also secondary to litigations, permitting process from NOAA. Remember, these are based on the HGMPs, which is the Hatchery Genetic Management Plan, and the ESA listed stocks of fish that they can't compromise. Up in that upper north watershed, you have a 4% impact on wild fish. So as that number begins to narrow, boy, this is going to be difficult. As that number begins to narrow, dwindling wild returns, you can only have impact on those returns in that around that 4% margin when it comes to recreational opportunity and tribal gill net. So as those numbers dwindle, they're kind of up against it as far as how many fish they can actually plant into the rivers.
Right, 4% of that number. So as that number dwindles, the 4% number gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. So. 2016, they actually planted 754,000 throughout all of Puget Sound. But then 2017, it bumped back down to under 700,000. Now, 2018, 570,000. So when I was talking to Ed, I said, Puget Sound, if I equate a 1% return, and when you have a fishery managers and biologists go, that would be really good. That is very concerning.
Especially with the way our oceans have been as of late.
When he tells you that they are more closer to a 0.5% return, you really have to start scratching your head. A 1% return on, let's say we get a 1% return throughout all of Puget Sound on a plant allocation of 570,000 fish. That is 5,700 fish spread out amongst 9 rivers. In a pipe dream, we're saying all rivers equally receive the same amount of fish coming back. You know what that number is? 633 fish per river.
Wow.
633 fish per river if we're kicking out a 1% return. That's what we're talking about. So now let's take a look at a couple things. The plants from 2015 to 2017, basically it's down 168,000 fish. Okay. From 2016 to 2018, we're down 184,000 fish. That's how we end up at 570,000. when we look at the 7 rivers that are named in this current closure that just was unveiled in the northern portion of Puget Sound, and you made a great point before the show in discussion that's very concerning, considering these are some of our most northern rivers, that these fish literally jump out into Puget Sound and they are right to the straits.
Right.
And yet they're showing some of the weakest return percentages that we're seeing, okay? The 7 rivers we're talking about up there north that are closed, there's basically 332,000 fish planted in that general region, okay? 332,000. A 1% return would obviously be 3,300 fish.
Right.
Spread out on those 7 rivers, that is 475 fish per river if all things are equal. But it's not, and we're actually at a 0.5 or a 0.5%. You kick that number down from 332,000 to get a 0.5% return on those 7 rivers, it's 1,660 fish. Based on 7 rivers, that's 237 fish per river. And people are wondering why right now we don't have any fish at any of those hatcheries. I had talked to Ed yesterday. He said there's not a single fish at any hatchery right now.
Right.
We are, Barnum, December 20th tomorrow.
Right.
We should have persons with shiny chrome 6 and 8 pound hatchery steelhead all over the bank. Reeder Pond, all those areas up there should just be littered with folks. Bobber and jig, whatever your technique is, and folks should be finding fish.
Right.
And we're not.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't get any better for the wild fish. Again, we can only have a 4% impact. The numbers are dwindling. We can't even get a hatchery program to survive. So when folks say, this is BS, man, the state needs to plant more fish. Yeah, we totally agree. We've been on board with planting more fish from day one. But remember, each watershed and each species of fish has its own rules attached to it. And when ESA is interjected and HGMP is interjected relevant to steelhead, and NOAA holds the cards for permitting, telling you how many fish you can or cannot plant based on your ESA, it gets very complex.
Right.
Those rivers, I believe, historically, and maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't fish up north all that much or ever, because we're way down here now.
Right.
They generally close January 31st anyway. So I would venture to say, I would venture to say we're probably not going to see a steelhead season on those northern rivers.
Probably not.
It's not the first time.
No, and how do you, with that small a number of fish coming back, how do you reach escapement anyway? I mean, how do you...
I failed to ask Ed how many breeding pair they need to acquire egg take for these hatchery fish. And I don't know what the escapement number is on your wild stock, but that is not very many fish coming back to those hatcheries.
Right.
What if you have an off year that, based on ocean conditions, you have a high percentage of hens or female fish surviving and no bucks to spawn them with?
Right.
I mean, there's things that can happen that are
cards.
unpredictable, right?
Right. So many wild cards.
Yeah, it's just absolutely asinine. This unforeseen, uncontrollable, devastating ocean conditions that we continue to find ourselves in is becoming detrimental across the board. Coho season sucked. It fell flat on its face. Chum was closed down and really didn't open back up.
And it sure looks like Steelhead's going to do the same
Steelhead's
thing.
in the toilet. These coastal rivers, talking with James Losey out here, WDFW, program manager out of Region 6. Numbers look okay.
Right.
There are a couple of rivers with concern, but he said on a 4 or 5 year average, we're kind of in that average. But that doesn't give me a lot of hope.
No.
Because as I started looking even further, I started pulling up actual plants for coastal rivers just for comparison, and I'm only naming rivers based on comparison. And we're going to stick with the 1% return.
Right.
Okay. Our beloved Wainuchi, which gets pounded on because there's nowhere else to fish.
That's going to really get it this year.
And when we close everything up north, it gets even tenfold.
Right.
Now we have boat launches that are opened up there now that we didn't have access to, so folks think we can spread out. 75 to 100 drift boats on that Wainuchi a day, plus the sleds in the lower river when there's enough water, is a frustrating fishery. And you know what you're fishing for, Barnum? In 2016, at least in 2016, they planted 175,000 winter run fish on the Wainuchi. In 2018, this year's return, right, this brood, 88,000 fish. 1% of that is 887 fish.
Wow.
887 fish, projected hatchery fish. Don't have any idea what the wild escapement is projected to be, but hatchery fish based on plants and a 1% return. Do I dare even break that down to a half percent?
Right, exactly. Because I mean, the 1%. I mean, we seen with the coho runs, 1% we didn't even come close.
It's ridiculous.
So then to think that you're going to get 1% on the steelhead is almost like it's probably not going to happen.
Based on plants of 2018, if we get a 1% return on the Wainucci, 75 to 100 boats a day, you're fishing on 880 fish. On the Satsup, you're fishing on 610 fish, and on our go-to bogus shield out there on the coast, as comparison, you're fishing on about 1,025 fish.
Right.
All those rivers I just mentioned are plugged full of recreational anglers and should be.
Right.
This is what we love to do. Steelhead season, wintertime with steelhead season is almost a rite of passage, right?
Right.
Growing up in the Northwest.
Yeah,
and
it's tradition.
It's tradition.
Isn't it?
It's going by the wayside, folks, and there's no easy answers. We got a lot of things impacting our fish runs. We talked about it a couple weeks ago relative to the steelhead smolt on the Columbia River.
Right.
All the way from the
I keep coming back, and the more I keep running our past discussions, these discussions through my mind, it really just comes down to we have to plant more fish, and we have to figure out how we work with these ESA listings, how we work with hatchery reforms, how we work with that to figure out how to plant more fish. Because the fact of the matter is, with ocean conditions where they are, predation completely out of control, there's safety in numbers for not only a return of hatchery fish, but for the wild fish. I mean, if you think about if we were some way able to double our smolt release, so now you're sending twice the number of fish out. If the predation ends up taking 70% of those fish, at least you sent out twice the number for the predation to take. And so if you just play random odds would be that more native fish would return with the hatchery returning fish because they would have more hatchery fish to feed on.
It's a good segue that you mentioned that. A buddy of mine called me tonight. We were talking, and he said, hey, a couple of the coastal tribal waters, the smaller rivers that are walk-in guide and people fish those, are teeming with fish.
Right.
They're absolutely plugged with steelhead, been fishing great since November.
If you plant them, they will come.
If you plant them, they will come. Their plant numbers are much higher. The fish they release are much healthier and bigger. Right. Actual full smolt size.
A lot of brood stocking.
A lot of brood stocking. It's been programs in existence for years. They have a very good return success rate. And when people go out there, typically you are not catching small steelhead.
No.
Okay. And that always raises the question, hey, those fish go to the ocean too?
Right.
So what is it and why are they surviving better? I made a point to say I'm going to make some phone calls. There are folks we know within the tribe hatchery systems, fisheries managers and biologists. Educational purposes, I really hope they're willing to talk and we can get somebody coming here on the show. Talk about their program, why it's successful, how they interpret what's going on in the ocean, and how they see the future relative to fisheries management and salmon steelhead.
It would really be nice to be able to sit down and talk to them and really help me and probably most of our viewers understand why these fish releases keep getting lower and lower. And like, what's the changing, we're not all 100% up to current on what's going on with the ESA. We don't understand it. The average guy cannot understand all that.
It's too much.
So to us, it's just frustrating that less and less smolt are being released.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a moving target, and they continue to dwindle it down. Whatever the driver is on that, it'd be nice to know. I get it if it's wild fish, okay, but at a point, something's got to change. Relative to salmon, they're hot on the track of saying we're going to plant more fish, right? That's driven by the orcas. Orcas don't eat steelhead. Maybe if they were given a steelhead to try, they may say, hey, we like steelhead, and we want to eat steelhead, so maybe the state needs to plant more steelhead. I don't know what the answer is, but these numbers are concerning. And social media has been kind of bouncing around this last couple weeks. Hey, what do you think steelhead season is going to look like? Hey, can't wait to get out. Hey, and we say the same thing. I mean, I cannot wait till this water drops to get out on some of my local rivers here in my backyard and give it a go, because what we do, right? I'm going to try to get a couple fish. I'm at least going to go put in a few days in the drift boat and go for a float and just enjoy time away. But that gets somewhat compromised when you have 100 boats on a single small river on any given day. So I like to say it's not all doom and gloom, but I got to tell you, man, it's looking pretty gloom as of late. If any of those numbers are wrong, I'm sure my biologist and fishery manager friends within WDFW will be getting me on the phone. And if we're inaccurate anyway, we'll correct those numbers. But I got to tell you, going into it, the numbers don't look that great. And for you guys that really want to start looking into this stuff and take a look, you simply got to get on there, Google, WDFW, Steelhead smolt plants. When you put that in, you're going to get an option of looking at 4 years time frame, 10 years. Right. You can find that information.
All that information is on the WDFW website. Yeah. Whether it's
fish stocking,
hatchery escapement, hatchery fish, native fish, the stocking, the plants, egg take. It's all there.
Travel net schedules. It's all there.
Yep.
You just got to do a little digging, and then you got to do some comparisons. Pick a river. Look over the course of time. Look over the last 10 years on your beloved whatever river's in your backyard, and realize how many fish less are being planted over the last decade.
Right.
It's going to probably knock your socks off. So
we have Jim Babcock chiming in here quite a bit on the comment feed. He's worked in Grays Harbor, worked with Wainucci and the Satsa, and said basically across the board it was money.
Yeah.
Money was the reason why we weren't planting as many fish.
And what have we been advocating for? Right? More funds to get WDFW fully funded to maximize opportunity and capacity.
Right.
The other side of that is the Wainucci mitigation plan that's kind of held at bay right now, but moving forward, albeit slow. For anybody that fishes out in this coastal area, you need to be on board and support the Wainucci mitigation plan. We need to have those steelhead planted in the Wainucci. We need to have the steelhead planted, increase the broodstock program on the Satsa. We also need those coho planted in the Wainucci, hatchery fish up to 100, and 300 more into the Satsa. There's a small group that's a point of contention for them. They want to see reallocated all to the Wainucci because it comes out of Wainucci mitigated monies that were held on to years ago based on the dam, Tacoma Power. There's a lot of fingers in the pot making this thing work or not. The bottom line is they can't overpopulate the Wainucci. They've decided their management plan, and the tribes have bought off on it, the Quinaults, to say we're going to plant 300,000 extra coho into the Satsa. Even though it comes from Wainucci mitigation. At the end of the day, that's called opportunity, Barnum.
Right.
As a recreational angler, with those rivers being basically sisters down here in the harbor, and you have options to plant fish, but you don't want to overpopulate a specific tributary, if they're willing to rear those fish, raise them, utilize those money as appropriated for what it is for, at the end of the day, it's called opportunity. It's in the same basin. They're going to end up in the Chehalis. They're going to go out through Westport and head out to the ocean.
Right.
When those fish come back, it's opportunity at Westport, it's opportunity out in the harbor, and it's opportunity in the Chehalis, and then you have your tributaries. So why folks would fight opportunity when it's going to be given to us is beyond me. Money is another issue, and hopefully at some point, we can turn things around, find funding for WDFW. Right. May come down to who's sitting in office. May come down to see who's sitting in office, and if you don't know what I'm referring to,
there you want to go talking politics again.
Check out last week's show and listen to what Lauren Culp has to say about that. Avid outdoorsman, wants to fund hatcheries, wants to revamp the commission, wants to get WDFW on the right track. So anyway, enough on that. We do have opportunity with crabbing.
We do. Two portions of Puget Sound are going to remain open or open for Puget Sound crabbing. A portion of Marine Area 9 and a portion of Marine Area 12 will remain open or will open December 20th and remain through January 31st.
All the way to the 31st.
All the way to the 31st. Crab have to be 6 1/4 inches wide, and that's measured from inside the little spikes on the outside. Don't count the little spikes, so people are clear on that. And then dropping and pulling of pots is only allowed 1 hour after and 1 hour before official sunset. So 1 hour after sunrise, 1 hour before sunset. You can't go out and pull pots at night, which makes sense because, people that travel at night to pull crab pots and stuff like that tend to be up to maybe no good.
Yeah, that's kind of a shenanigan that we don't particularly support.
Right.
So read your regulations. You got some opportunities. Go get some winter crab. It sounds like there's an abundance of them.
Yeah, I'm going to be covering in the weather forecast later on in the show. I'll be covering kind of the tide schedules and, when those areas probably fish better and all that type of stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, man.
Help you guys out.
Before we bust out of here for a break, because I went off on a numbers tangent and we're running way late, as we usually do.
As we always do in the first segment.
Want to let everybody know, hey, we are going to be very active at the Puyallup and the Portland Sportsman shows. I say Portland, but it's just outside of Portland, north of at the Expo Hall. We have been invited to put on our live show Thursday evenings at both venues, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to have an amazing lineup of guests. We'll be keying in on some of the keynote folks that'll be in and around those facilities throughout the week, as far as folks being brought in for different presentations and seminars and hosting different events. And they got a lot of really good and new stuff going on, a new flavor to these sportsman shows. They're trying to re-invite folks back to them, get excited about attending them because it's a different deal. It's not the same old show, right?
Right. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited about what we have coming up at the two sportsman shows.
Yep. So we're going to do our show live. We'll also have our booth there at both venues. In Puyallup, we're going to team up with our buddies over there at Rap Jacks.
Right.
So for folks down the road looking to get a great deal on your boat, your power boat, your drift boat, your enclosed utility trailer like we have for a travel show, vehicles, anything that you want to get a wrap on, Rap Jacks is where you want to get it done. Those guys are fantastic. They've become friends, and we're going to team up with them. We'll have a nice big 10 by 20 booth there in Puyallup. Be selling all our clothing items and all the stuff that we're kicking out now as far as swag. We would appreciate your support. Come and see us. We'll be there all week, but key in on the fact, live shows from each venue, Thursday night in January. It'll be the 23rd, 6 p.m. in Portland. It'll be Thursday, February 6th, 6 p.m. 2-hour show, live event, and getting sponsors on board for giveaways too. Got some great stuff going on. So, we got some guests in studio tonight, Barnum.
Yeah, I can't believe we let these guys in.
Yeah.
Must have been the weather. We were hard up.
Chris Meyer and Skylar Masters, Titan Outdoors, established back in, I believe, 2005, as far as Titan Outdoors, and then it kind of evolved into also, in conjunction with Little Titans, which is a phenomenal program that you keep me in on. Chris and Skylar have been doing it for a number of years. We're going to introduce them next segment, talk about their program, kind of get you an introduction to it, and then we'll bring them back later on. We'll talk about the upcoming banquet in January, what the monies go towards, how they're getting these young kids into hunting, finding success, getting them excited. Some of the stories are just amazing. It's the holiday season, folks. This show is all about giving and trying to give back, and this is one of those foundations you want to get on board and support. And then later in the show, a little more local, because those boys came up from Tillamook in this weather. Appreciate them making the drive because it wasn't easy. But later on the show, we're going to introduce Larry Stamp, kind of local here out of the Tumwater Olympia area. Rods and Reels in Need. You may have seen him on social media, Facebook and whatnot. He's got a great program going. Always asking for folks to help out with. Again, it's about bringing in and receiving rods and reels and fishing gear and all facets of fishing and tackle and stuff that he's got going on, and how that gets out throughout the community to kids, struggling adults and whatnot. This is all about trying to make person's holiday season and Christmas a whole lot better. And so we figured we would bring in a couple really great programs throughout the Northwest that are helping folks out in the realm of the outdoors. One is more hunting based, the other is definitely fishing based, but we thought you folks would enjoy it, and hopefully you're able to somehow jump in here tonight and help us out. So before we go on too much longer, Barnum, we're going to jump out for a break. I'm going to take a drink and soothe my stressed throat.
What kind of drink?
Maybe some whiskey at this point. And we'll get back in here and get going with Titan Outdoors. So we'll jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right here on FHN.
At Metals Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals. So we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Hey, welcome back to Fish on Northwest New England. Kelly Barnum, and joined now in studio by Chris Meyer and Skylar Masters. How you guys doing?
Good.
Got our microphones on?
Yep.
Green light.
Green light.
Got it.
Got it. Thanks for driving up here, man.
Absolutely.
Tillamook is just not like it's around the corner.
It's a short jaunt.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say it's a SH show.
Oh, whoa, hey, it's not my show here.
Keep it clean.
Right out of the
Keep it
gate. All right, we'll go to break now.
clean. Kelly didn't tell me anything about Mach in my mouth.
Right, what happened to those guys? Anyway. So, Chris, you established Titan Outdoors. Is it 2005? Did I have that
Yeah,
right?
2005. Yeah.
Talk about what that program initially, what you were out doing, what you were trying to do back in 2005.
You know, basically, so throughout high school, I was really big into photography and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And with my first credit card, I bought my first video camera, and I was literally just filming scouting trips, things like that, and everybody really enjoyed watching the footage. And so one day I decided, hey, you know, I'm going to try to make a local Western Washington hunting DVD just for fun.
Right.
And it worked. It took off. We got sponsors, and then we just started growing from there, doing more and more DVDs, just sharing our experiences in the outdoors with other people.
Yeah,
is really what it's always been about.
Back then, I mean, we're talking 14 years ago. So how much would you actually show? I mean, like, if you guys are
everything
elk hunting with rifles, you're showing them getting shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you take them through the process of gutting them and all that?
Back then, no. We really didn't and I should have, but we didn't get into.
Yeah, but nobody was. Right. And I think just as of late, the last 5 years or so, when guys started putting those on certain channels, and of course online and things, it became more of a natural expectation.
Right. And Titan Outdoors really was like, they were kind of one of the first groundbreakers of putting hunts on video at least in Western Washington.
In Western Washington, there was like us, and at the time there was one other group that came out, and I didn't know they were coming out, and I don't think they knew we were coming out.
Right.
But it was different. They were doing a lot of archery elk stuff, and we were doing just a barrage of everything. Right. And that was, for us, that is what I wanted to focus on, because that's what I archery hunt for elk. I rifle hunted for deer. I have archery hunted for deer. I bear hunt and everything. So I just wanted to put the whole gamut on there and share all those experiences. Get more people involved in what we have to offer. In the area.
Would you produce DVDs that depicted successes and failures?
Run that by me again.
I said, would you produce DVDs and get them out there that had successes and or failures, like showing a hunt that doesn't end up killing an animal?
Yeah, actually, I showed some hunts of me missing, which was comical. And honestly was some of the funnier stuff. It's real life, One of my one of the funniest ones I've ever put of myself on there that I can think of off the top of my head. I missed a whitetail buck, and I didn't want to shoot it because it was bedded down, and I was only 75 yards away. I remember standing there forever. I remember on the video it was 3 minutes and some change, but I was standing there and I was just waiting for him to stand up. I didn't want to take an unethical shot, and it finally stood up. My arm was so tired I missed. But in that whole process, it was funny because I had the biggest snot rocket coming out of my nose, and it was just gleaming on camera. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, whatever, it happens. It was cold. Get off my back. But I put everything on there. My dad was going through chemo treatments, and he'd only killed one deer in his life. Okay, and he was at the end of his hunting lifespan career, and I took him out, and the last day, only day he could hunt, and he shot a really tall spike buck, and that deer meant the world to him.
Absolutely.
And that was actually one of my most popular hunts that I've ever put on a DVD. And it was funny because I almost didn't use it because I didn't want to hear people whine about somebody shooting a spike.
Right.
And that's how pathetic things get these days.
Sure.
But it's the facts. And the fact is so many people related to that hunt, going out with their father, their grandfather, taking their kids out, something like that, and the emotion he showed after.
For sure.
Yeah. It was a good hunt. So,
where would you? So back then, you're kicking out these DVDs. I mean, YouTube was around, but nobody was using it like it's used today, right?
YouTube,
Could you imagine what was going on back then? I mean, some of the guys that are out there now, obviously born and raised boys, have been doing it for 10 years now, but they're exclusively on social media. Our platform is social media, and a handful of guys, it's all about social media. Yeah. The technology that we have today to do this stuff wasn't obviously available in 2005. No. Not even close, right?
I remember it distinctly. I was in the elk woods, and I don't know, somebody had ran into you guys or something, but there's a couple idiots up here running around with cameras trying to record this crap. And I remember thinking, who are these jokers?
And now we're friends.
Go figure, right?
And that's funny because that's what I used to tell people all the time is when, after the first couple DVDs came out and everybody's like, oh, you're doing this, big deal. I'm an idiot that ruins most of my hunts by carrying around a camera with me. I'm no different than you, type of thing. And that's what I believe and always have. And so it was just fun. I just enjoyed it. I have less hunting success because of my choice in running a camera. I've passed on elk. I've passed on deer because the camera wasn't on or it wasn't something wasn't right. But I enjoy it.
Yeah. Skylar, you been with him from the start, or when did you come in?
I started with Chris 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
okay. Yep, he called me up one night and said that Jamie Dixon had talked to him about doing this camp, doing a little Titans hunt.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I was in, and absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's about 6 years ago. This is the 6th annual. You guys are working through this season.
Yes.
Let's talk about what kind of catapults you into this little Titans concept and what it's all about. We'll talk about all the fundraising. We'll make sure folks are aware of your banquet coming up, all that stuff next segment. But let's talk about how it got started, age of kids, how they qualify to go on this, and really, at the core of it, what is it all about?
Well, basically, doing the Titan Outdoors thing, I kind of shifted gears a lot with wanting to do things with kids. I went to South Carolina and did a hunt over there for youth, for cancer kids, things like that. And when I moved to Oregon, I met a good friend of mine, Jamie Dixon. He was one of the first people that reached out to me and invited me to an archery shoot, and which he's actually doing tonight, by the way. That's kind of funny. So Jamie reached out and invited me to an archery shoot, and we were, building a friendship from there. And throughout, the time there, it wasn't even very long, he had asked me if I had ever considered doing a youth hunt through the Titan Outdoors banner.
Right.
And I was like, well, I would love to. And I told him about the South Carolina thing, and I'm like, but it's not the same here in Oregon or in Washington. You don't have the avenues to take 10 kids out on a weekend hunt and have success.
Everybody killed deer, right?
Exactly.
In South Carolina,
anybody,
you have crazy deer numbers and large landowners with tracts of land, and and
so
things are more managed on that.
Made it really difficult to even fathom doing something like that. And Jamie said, no, I have the place and I have the guy that we can do it with. And that's when he brought up Caleb and Chantel at Four Aces Ranch. And I had no idea it existed. And so we talked about it, and it is a high fence ranch, about 5,500 acres. Yeah. As a crow flies, I believe, or something. I don't know. It's rugged country, but it's a lot of land. Huh?
Where's that at?
Ashwood, Oregon.
Ashwood?
Yeah, it's just east of
Madras.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So
east Madras.
He was explaining this to me and how we could set it up and how we could do it. And from there, the ball just started rolling. We had the first camp done that year.
Oh.
And we put it together quick.
Yeah.
And so Jamie, who's not here right now, was like, well, I want you to do the FaceTime stuff, and I want to be back here, helping raise the money and doing the hunts and things like that.
I need somebody on staff that wants to work behind the scenes and raise money.
I'll get you his number.
He's great.
We got all kinds of work.
Yeah, we need money raisers.
Absolutely.
We got hell raisers. We got
Exactly. As Jamie being, a local guy from Tillamook, he's a school teacher, he's a wrestling coach, he's been there for a long time, and so he knows everybody. And so he, at the beginning, when we started doing it, was our key person for raising the money, because this is expensive to do.
Sure.
But he was the key guy that made that happen financially. So it was great.
This is it's basically, the private area, high fence.
Yep.
Some of it's exotics.
It's all exotic rams.
They're all exotic rams.
Yeah, right. That's how
they're all exotic.
Yeah, they're all exotics.
Yeah.
If people have a misconception of that whole system, that setup, that high fence, and it's funny to me to have conversations with people that are so negative about it.
What's the age of kids that you're introducing to hunting?
9 to 16 is the cutoff.
9 to 16.
9 to 15.
15.
This is where this is
9 to 15.
That's what I'm here for.
Good thing you're here.
Yeah. Skylar, introducing them to hunting.
Yep.
Some of them, it's their first opportunity. For some of them, they've perhaps hunted and struggled, not been successful.
Haven't been successful yet.
Okay.
Sometimes we have a kid that maybe they're interested in hunting, but they didn't grow up in a hunting family.
Right.
And this is just a perfect foundation for them to get started. And even get the family started.
Right.
Getting the parents involved to see what's involved. To get these kids out there. And
You guys take, for that camp, 4-day camp, 5-day camp?
4-day camp.
4-day camp, and you cater to 10, 12, 14. What's the cutoff?
Well, we've started at 10. Then increased to 12.
Okay.
We went to
Last year we did 14. And it's hard to turn these kids away.
Right.
Each kid has their own story. Each kid is deserving.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What qualifies them in the selection process that you guys want to get them out to the camp?
So the kids, they make their video. They make video submissions. And so we really encourage them when they're making their video to stand out somehow. Make it unique, make it stand out. Tell your story of who you are, but make it so that we're gonna go that kid right there. Get creative. And so they tell who they are, they tell their story, if they've been hunting before, if they just haven't had success, if they've never had, if they've never been hunting before, things like that. So the kids that we target are obviously kids that either haven't had the success, haven't even been before, but really want to. But like Skylar said, don't have the avenue. I just had a parent the other day get a hold of me, and their kid's putting in. They don't hunt, but their kid wants to.
Sure.
And they're doing it.
Okay.
So, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that's a way for that young person to get out there and do it.
Any cost to the parents?
No, other than getting there.
Fuel to
Getting
get
there on their own.
And then if they bring an
little bit
RV,
of
if they're
food.
going to camp, there's a hookup fee that's paid to them.
Yeah, there's like some small things, but
but very minimal.
Yeah.
we try to cover the majority of it.
Yep.
Papa Bear Smoked Meats comes and caters it. Is that what you were just going to say?
No, tent camping is free. There's no
Oh, yeah.
charge for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's just if they bring an RV.
So do you find a lot of these kids that are selected, family members do come along, or is it mandated that they do? Or
That's
No.
what we encourage. We want them to bring their grandparents, bring their brothers,
Friends.
sisters, friends.
And you guys feed everybody for that whole deal, or
Yeah.
no kidding?
Yeah, Papa Bear, Tim Weber and Papa Bear Smoked Meats comes in, and they cater the dinners and everything, and there's usually plenty of leftovers.
Yeah.
And it's amazing food. And
is
so
unreal.
we kind of get an idea. I mean, we've had up to 100 people at camp.
Oh wow.
And so it's a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's great
Family
to watch the
experience,
kids. We
right?
have games at the camp, and all sorts of things. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead because I do, but we have the hunter's education instructor that comes and does.
I was going to ask, so for these kids, maybe, you get some 12, 13-year-olds who have hunted a couple seasons. They obviously have their hunter safety, hunter certification.
Yep.
You get the kids that show up, like the one Skylar you're just talking about, who family doesn't hunt, wants to hunt.
Right.
Submits a video, gets selected, right, Barnum? It's like, how do you get them their hunter safety prior to getting them out hunting on that private ranch?
Well, so they usually do the online version of the hunter education.
Through Oregon.
Through Oregon, correct. And then we have an Oregon instructor come do the field day at 4-H.
Because they don't have to have hunter certification to hunt the ranch,
That's
correct?
the best
Because
part.
it's private.
Because
That
it's
is
a
the
private
best
reserve,
part about
right?
this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is they don't have to have a license or anything in order to come and hunt here.
Sure.
We go through a hunter's education class. We go through shooting class. We make sure the parents know that they need to be able to shoot before they show.
Sure.
Now, the best part about that is any kid from, like, say, kids from Washington. We've had kids come from Washington that took the Oregon online class, came and did our class, our field class at camp. They get their certification, they can get their license in Washington.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
It
cool
counts.
because they don't need to have it, but these guys go above and beyond to make sure that if they want to hunt after they leave this camp, say the next season, they're ready to go. They don't have to jump through those hoops to get going.
Which is setting them up for not only an amazing experience for perhaps their first time out or their first successful time out, but it also greases the skids that hopefully they look at that now and go, man, I really love this. I want to continue doing this.
Right.
Not only that, we have some amazing sponsors that donate all kinds of stuff.
That's
just
awesome.
one off the top is Bob's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
They donate backpacks and gear for these kids.
And they load them
They're
up.
Hunter Orange.
Hunter Orange.
And so these kids will leave with a backpack full of stuff.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
So when their dad, their grandpa, their uncle, their neighbor says, hey, do you want to go on a hunt? They're ready to go.
And they double the backpacks as school backpacks too.
Yeah, they do.
There's a handful of folks chiming in here about the amazing work you guys are doing. Little Titans, great organization. Keep up the program. It's fantastic. Good work, guys. Outdoors is amazing. Lots of really good compliments. You guys have been going at it for a few years here, and you're starting to get quite a following. It's exciting stuff. We are going to jump out for a break.
Okay.
When we get you guys back in here for your second segment, we're going to delve into more particulars about the camp, what they do with these rams after they've shot them, how you take the kids through that process. I want to understand some of the reactions of some of these young boys and girls for their first time experiencing harvesting an animal. It can be a emotional experience for some,
absolutely.
correct, right?
Yep.
So lots of things to talk about and how the family's involved and all that. We'll talk about fundraiser and the banquet that's coming up in January. Make sure everybody understands the date and all that and where folks can find you. Okay? Sound good?
Sounds good.
Perfect. We're going to jump out for a break. We come back. We're going to be in the kitchen with Chef Kelly and Sherry for the first installment of this week's Recipe of the Week. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on FHN.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen for the recipe of the week, and I see some cod.
Yes, some beautiful lingcod, and we're going to make a basil crusted lingcod over a zucchini corn cake with a basil corn sauce. Yeah.
Say it again.
No.
Okay.
No.
We'll say it again for you later.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of like just something that I would probably run as a special at the restaurant. So, let's just do something kind of my style. So, it's summertime, so.
I thought we always do your style.
Oh, of course, because I'm always right.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Okay, so we have our lingcod, big, nice, beautiful piece of lingcod here. We're going to season it on the spine side first, and I'll show you why. A little bit heavier than normal.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Then we're going to take our herbs, our basil this time, and you could, substitute with all kinds of things. This is kind of a universal style. Basil is probably the easiest one to start with. Okay, now we're going to season this.
So don't you usually dry your cod off?
Yeah, because you want to get a good, nice dry crust on there. But if you have a nice hot pan, it's not going to be a problem. So.
Well, and for this one, you want your herbs to stick.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
See,
okay.
I listen.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice hot pan.
Nice hot pan.
Away from you.
I'm going to drop away from me. Like that. Okay. So we're going to get a good little sear on there. Don't go too crazy on the sear because we don't want our herbs to burn. So
not very long. Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. You've got it.
Let me stick him right back.
Actually, you know what?
You know what we're going to do? No problem. We're going to stick a new one on there. Just like that. Sometimes you got to kind of improvise.
It looks so good already.
Okay.
Yeah?
Not a problem.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to overcome in the kitchen. All right, we got a good little crust going on the bottom now too. Okay, so we're going to set that aside and we're going to roast it. Okay, so we'll just put this guy here.
Yep.
We're going to use him later. Okay, we're going to get the corn cake pan hot. Okay, so let's work on that. Okay, so we're going to do 3 eggs first.
So you're making like the batter.
Yes, we're going to make the batter first, and then we're going to You can do that one-handed, right?
No.
What?
I'll admit it. But you know, I am starting to practice on my own in between weeks.
Ah, I saw you.
And stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to add a half cup of flour.
Just regular flour.
Yep, just regular flour.
Okay.
And then we're going to add a half cup of corn flour.
Okay.
Just like that. Add a little bit of salt. Don't go too crazy on the salt because we're going to be adding about a quarter cup of Parmesan. And that has a lot of salt level to it itself.
Yeah, I never knew that, and then I looked at the label. There's quite a bit of sodium in there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we're getting a kind of a thick batter going here.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to add about 3 cups of zucchini julienne. And so
So about how many zucchinis do you think that was?
Zucchini and a half. Okay, so then I sauteed off some 3 ears of corn, so I'm probably going to use about half of this. So this is probably a cup and a half of this. This is onions and corn.
So that was corn on the cob? And
Yeah, that I cut off, and then about that's a full onion right there. So we'll use that for the sauce also.
Okay.
Okay. Make sure you cool it down first because if you add it in hot, it's going to start cooking the eggs and just no good.
Oh, that doesn't sound very good.
No.
No.
So I added about a tablespoon of garlic.
Okay.
We're going to do about 2 tablespoons of green onions. About 2 tablespoons of basil chiffonade or julienne. Here, take that.
Chiffonade.
Yes. Another thing about this corn cake is that it's very stiff. I mean, it's not. How do I say it? It doesn't keep very well. What happens is that the salt starts to work on it, and it has some water release, and so it's just it doesn't. It also becomes kind of discolored.
Oh.
And so, yeah.
So you kind of have to make them right away.
Yeah. So once you make this batter, don't mess around. Just kind of.
Okay. It's not one of those you marinate.
No. Oh, I'll just save it for tomorrow. It's going to save it tomorrow. Yeah, you're going to go back to it tomorrow and go, what the happened? Yeah, exactly. All right. And you don't be nice with this one. Just kind of really mix it. Okay. You started off and you're like going, oh, what's kind of dry. I'm going to add something. No,
it just
keep
needs to
mixing.
be worked in.
See how it's now kind of like a looser, like wetter mixture? Okay.
Wetter mixer?
Yes. All right, so now we're going to get a little bit of oil in our pan. Okay, and we're going to make probably about 3 cakes. So I would say like a small handful I would go with. There you go.
Now, that's not a small handful for us regular folks.
Hey, regular folks.
That's a big handful.
Okay, fine. There we go. So is this corn in here? Is that keto friendly?
Not really.
Not really?
I
Oh
know.
man, I thought
Certain
it was
vegetables, it's crazy. You think vegetables would be just fine, but no.
No? Okay. Well, sorry, not keto friendly, but
That's okay.
it is what it is.
You know what I say.
Kelly's a big meanie face.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so we're getting nice and brown. Don't skimp on the oil on this one here. Just, because you need some good surface contact.
That looks great.
Oh, look at that
Oh,
mess.
look at that. Yeah, the zucchini, I could just keep the corn out of it.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the description.
Yeah, but I mean, it has flour in it, so, it is, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to transfer this to the pan and then throw it in the oven. So I got a little bit of roasting time in the oven. So.
Oh, okay, well then we might as well just throw it to you guys back in the studio then.
Welcome back in the studio, Fish Hunt Northwest. Wayne England, Kelly, Barnum. Don't know if you caught that, Barnum. That is basil-crusted lingcod over zucchini corn cakes.
Love me some lingcod.
Yeah, well, you know, there's not a lot of other things to go after right now.
Right. There still seems to be a few of them so far.
Still got those in my freezer. Obviously, it's closed after October for those,
right.
But if you had a bountiful year and still have lingcod or halibut in your freezer, this is an amazing recipe. A little involved. I mean, a lot of that zucchini you got to whip into strings and whatnot, but once it's fried up and you put that cod on top of there, I'm telling you, that corn sauce and everything he does.
Right.
Second part of that is later in the show, so you're going to want to stick around for that because it's well worth the wait. And before we get there, hey Barnum, I don't know if you noticed on the drive over, but it is raining a little bit out here on the coast.
Really?
A little bit of water coming.
Yeah.
They call that the
atmospheric river.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm the weatherman. I'm supposed to know this.
You are, Steve. Yes, atmospheric river. That warm belt of moisture that's just streaming over the middle of us in Oregon right now.
The crazy part about this is, which I'll go into the weather forecast in a minute, but there was still a little bit of cold air trapped at 2,000 feet, and the mountains are getting absolutely pounded right now. Which is going to be interesting in the days ahead as that warm air creeps in and starts to warm things up, and I think it's really going to blow some rivers out.
Yeah, I think they're going to go higher than they anticipated.
Right.
If this thing stalls out at all and dumps 2 to 4 inches in the next 48 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, or if we jump into Sunday and we're in that 72-hour time belt, and that thing's still stalled out, we're gonna have some serious,
well, let's take a look at that, because we're going to see some colors on the maps that we haven't seen for a while. This is what we're looking at today. If you see the reds and then you see a little bit of the purples, which the purples always tend to pop up around the higher mountains tops, down here in the Willapa Hills, up in the Olympics, up in the Cascades. The purples, between the red and the purple, we're talking 2 to 4 inches over the 24-hour period.
When's the last time you saw purple on the forecast?
It's been a while, a lot like last fall. And then we go into Friday and look at these purples, and we even get down on the Oregon coast, we even get into some blues. And blues, we're talking 8 inches of rain in a 24-hour period on the coast. I mean, absolutely, this is some rainfall like we haven't, we haven't had rainfall like this, we're way into the year.
I always say we need, but to put it in perspective, we got a lot of reds in the gravel right now. So based on the fact that we can't get fish to return anyway, now we're going to wipe them out before they even hatch out. It gets a little bit. Mother Nature's not doing us anything.
No. And then we continue on into Saturday here, where the rain kind of moves south a little bit, it looks. But, I mean, the heavier rain is down south, and then again at the mountaintops, hilltops. And that's with that snow level creeping up. I think the last I read, the snow level is going to get up around 5,000 or 6,000 feet. So even the passes are going to be seeing pretty heavy rain over the next couple days. So let's then take a look at what this is going to do to our local rivers. This is the Wainuchi right here. This is tomorrow going into Saturday and Sunday, and look at that spike, gets way above the historical mean, which, as you can see, this is the kind of the historical mean. So we've been way down. And it's going to spike up pretty steep incline straight up, but actually come down fairly quick, according to what they're predicting at this point, unless, like we talked about, this thing stalls out a little bit and you get a lot more snow melt coming.
We're fishing by Christmas Eve. So the 23rd.
Christmas morning for sure. I mean, skip the presents and get a steelhead.
Absolutely.
I'm sure your wife and kids will love that.
Steelhead would be a present. Going into this year.
Right, and then let's jump down here and look at, I don't want to jump to that one yet. I want to jump to the Wilson. Look at the Wilson down on the Oregon coast near Tillamook. Same thing, but look at this one spike straight up. And I think that's the look at what we were showing on that Friday weather, where they were looking at up to 8 inches of rain along the Oregon coast.
Those could change as we get deeper into Saturday. If that rain doesn't start tapering off, those things will be going over flood stage for sure. Right.
And then we pop over here just to show you that this isn't just a west side event. We're going to see this over on the east side too. This is the Clearwater at Dwarshak, and it's going to do the exact same thing. It's spiking way up and coming right back down for a good Christmas fishery.
Perfect.
So, well, let's talk. I told you guys earlier in the show that I'd be talking a little bit about the crabbing. So first off, we'll kind of pull up, before we even get into the weather side of this, we'll pull up the tide side of it. And so crabbing opens up right here Friday the 20th. And what I've found over the years crabbing mostly like Willapa or Grays Harbor, but the best times to crab, especially if you want to go out and say use rings or drop pots and pick, not just go out in the morning and drop pots and go back home and, you know, eat breakfast and lunch and all that and then go back out in the afternoon and pull them. But if you want to spend some time out there, this incoming tide, your high floods right here. I mean, on Friday you could go out there, you know, the hour after sunrise, like it puts, and easily crab until that noon, until that tide changes and really starts to rip. Once the tide starts to rip out, the crab don't seem to get into the pot as well. You start to really struggle with rings because they're not as heavy, and so they'll start to be drugged by the tide. So, I mean, it's really important on the incoming tide, the first, you know, max flood, when it's really starting to pour in, it's really important that you have those rings and pots weighted, or you will lose them. They will get sucked down and you will lose them. On top of that, once things start to slow down towards the high slack, and that's what we normally do with our rings, is we'll put weight in them, and then once it starts slowing down to where we start to see those buoys aren't really pulling, then I'll take that weight out on the rings and drop them without the weight, just because I'm not worried about the current. But fish that incoming tide, I think you'll find that the crabbing, especially with rings and pots, if you want to drop and pull, is a lot better on the incoming. With that being said, let's click over and kind of take a look at the weather. Friday, you're looking at a little breezy, 12 to 14 knots, wind waves 1 to 2 feet with heavy rain. I mean, that's obviously to be expected, but as we kind of go through the weekend and get into, say, Saturday afternoon, winds start to die down, and then on Sunday, you're 5 knots or less, chance of showers and wind waves 1 foot or less. So definitely as you get into the end of the weekend, you know, the crabbing looks to be a lot better. Yeah. I mean, as far as weather.
The other option we got some clam digs that we approved, right? That second round that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yep. The 23rd through the 29th, we have clam digs. The nice thing is on the 23rd, Monday, your minus tide is at 4:35. So you can actually get out there about 2 in the afternoon and get a daylight dig going with the kids. Weather's going to be snotty. It's going to be blowing like crazy, and it's going to be extremely wet, but it doesn't take long to get limits with 5 million clams to go after.
Right. So the clam digging's been very good on all the beaches as far as I've heard.
Long Beach, Twin Harbors, and Mock Rocks are all open. 23rd to the 29th, get your clam dig on. All right, with that, running a little behind as we always are. Going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. Larry Stamp will be in the studio here. Barnum, talk up. Rods and Reels in Need. Interesting program that I've been following. He's doing a great job. We're going to introduce you to Larry. We come back right here on FHN.
Sterling is located in Puyallup, Washington. Sterling is your neighborhood quality one-stop shop for your team, outdoor clothing, screen printing, and embroidery. At Sterling, we are passionate about the outdoors and our environment. We only use environmentally safe products. If you fish, chances are you're getting a discount. At Sterling, we take pride in working with the customer to get you exactly what you need. Let us help you with all your screen printing and embroidery needs at sterlingprints.com.
Here you go. Right on. Welcome back here, Fish Hunt Northwest. Dwayne England, Kelly Barnum. In studio, of course, here back on the home front. Barnum, I was just reading during the break, areas 10, marine areas 10 and 13 are open back up. If you do by chance encounter a chum, you can keep it now.
That's nice. And what did I say when you told me that? I said, is there many chum left at this time of year?
You said, oh, it's wide open for Chinook, too.
Yeah, hey, we're going to open her up for fall Chinook.
Well,
good luck, guys.
Blackmouth fishing. So, anyway, I want to introduce our next guest, Larry Stamp. Local guy, Tumwater, Olympia.
Lacey area.
Lacey area.
Yeah.
Well, I won't hold that against you.
That's okay.
Right. Yeah, it's a little
right.
further to go. Here to discuss rods and reels in need. A little program you started out. Kind of talk to us about how that all got started. What's your process about getting this going? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I had this thought a year or so ago about getting donated rods and reels and getting them into the hands of kids who needed it. I never really got any traction on that, and I got this call to do an inspection because that's what I do to
home inspections.
Home inspection, yeah. That buys me my gas money for the boat.
Yeah.
And anyway, this lady had a house that she wanted inspected. She had two brothers. One had passed. One was in the hospital, and she wanted to make sure the house was safe before they brought this brother home.
Sure.
So I went out and looked at it. She said, I got to warn you that they are collectors, let's say. And the one brother collected Matchbox cars. They were all over the place, everywhere. The other brother collected rods and reels. I mean, nice stuff. Yeah. Gear, tackle, the whole bit. And I said, well, you know, let me see if I can buy some of these from you, you know, because I'm thinking this will kind of help me get going. She says, okay, I'll think about it. So she calls me a week later. She says, you know what, just come get them. And I'm just speechless. Huh? Come get them? Yeah. Okay. So I got my buddy Kim. We loaded up my full-size Chevy pickup with rods and reels. The bed, the entire back seat, full.
Full of rods and reels.
Full of rods and reels.
Fishing gear too, or?
Some. I figured probably conservatively $5,000 worth of gear. Yeah. So now I come home with all this stuff.
And your wife says, what are you doing?
Well, that wasn't.
I don't mean to pay for all that.
Let me check the credit card statement.
Yes. That wasn't exactly what she said, but you kind of got the gist of it.
Sure, yeah.
So we moved all that stuff into the travel trailer. So at that point in time, I'm recovering from having a knee replacement. And I'm thinking to myself, this, pardon the pun, really got real. Really, really quick.
Yeah, real fast.
So I got a hold of my good friend Dan Crow. He's a lawyer in Yelm. And he stepped up to the plate immediately. He did all the 501(c)(3) pro bono.
Oh, nice.
Made us all legit.
Yeah.
We got a board put together. Doug and Jenny Dixon, good friends up north. Chris Isles, Jim Simmons, and basically at that point it's like, okay, how does this work? Because I don't know. I've never done this before. Right. I've never been a not-for-profit. I don't know quite how to do that. Who do I want to help? And I wanted to help everybody, but you have to kind of narrow that down. And so, you know, one of the things that really got me thinking about this is that people talk about fishing and culture and heritage. Well, it's my culture too. It's our culture. It's our heritage. And when you and I are long dead and gone, somebody's got to carry that on, okay? And it's so critically important, I think, to get the kids in particular into this, get them off their phones,
their video games,
the video
outside,
games. That's right. Maybe there'd be a few less bullies. Maybe there'd be a few less school shootings if they go out and they do this. And I think that, you know, the conversation that you guys were having earlier about the state of affairs with everything with fishing, which is horrible. It's mind-boggling. And I remember a conversation that I think happened on one of your shows earlier where a gentleman said, this is not the time to introduce people to fishing. You know, we shouldn't do that. There's too many of us out there already. It's stressing everything.
Sure.
And no, now is with all due respect, now is exactly the time to do that.
Yeah, especially for kids. I mean, we're not recruiting the next generation into this. It just slowly gets chipped away at and things start going away. If nobody's fighting for the rights to be on the public waters, the rights to be on the public lands, it all just slowly starts going away. All quietly, nobody really pays attention. Next thing you know, you wake up, it's all gone.
It's all gone.
So we need recruitment into these outdoor recreations opportunities.
We need the fresh blood. We need the fresh ideas. And so, you know, I focused on kids and also the veterans. Yeah. Particularly those who have served and sacrificed. I want to try to help them. So we've done a lot with Fallen Outdoors. Got Your Six Fishing has helped us out a bunch. We've donated to Youth Outdoors Unlimited. Yeah. They basically take kids who are terminally ill and get them out fishing and hunting. Erin Nicole, who has Raise 'em Outdoors. In fact, we got a call when we were first getting going from Owen Hayes' wife at Outdoor GPS and said, hey, Raise 'em Outdoors is doing this Father's Day thing. Can you get us 100 rods and reels? And I'm like, well, I think so. And my wife's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Did Eva call you the day before?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No pressure.
But it's just been awesome. And we've partnered up with Fish and Wildlife, one of the good guys down there. And he's very, very interested in promoting this activity with kids. Yeah. So we've been able to donate between us and Puget Sound Anglers and WDFW and another couple groups. We donated recently 125 rods and reels to Salvation Army. Oh wow. The 200
is this new stuff that they're going to give out for gifts?
Yeah, brand new. Salvation Army. Yeah. Salvation Army won't accept anything used.
Correct.
So we got that out, and what we're looking at now is loaner programs through the libraries. Through Big Brothers Big Sisters. Yeah. Just to, because there was a guy that came to a meeting and he talked about how his little, as they call him, wanted to go out fishing. And he said, so I went to Cabela's, I bought all this and bought all that. And I thought, you know, for a one-time thing or whatever, let's put something together so you can come and borrow this stuff.
Yeah,
just borrow it, go. And if you break it or whatever, who cares?
So you're actually getting rods and reels and stuff in the hands of libraries. People can come and basically check them out. Like
that's our plan. Yeah, that's our plan. You know, this is it's all kind of new.
Yeah. No.
And I don't have a real good game plan.
How do people help you out? What do you need?
Mostly what I need right now, gear donations are awesome, particularly good stuff that's fishable. Tackle boxes, trout gear. Yeah. We do have a GoFundMe page that's set up through Facebook. Okay. So any kind of cash donations are awesome as well.
Rods and reels in need on your Facebook page?
Yes. Yes.
So folks can literally go to, like locally, or they go to Cabela's, if they're in Tacoma area, Sportco, Bass Pro, go to Kmart, wherever, Walmart, they can purchase rods and reels, fishing gear, and get them to you. That's how they can assist in donating. Can they message you on Facebook and just say, hey, how do I get this stuff in your hands?
Absolutely. Yeah. Or they can email me rods and reels in need at gmail.com.
And then you guys handle getting it out to those that are deserving, and you have programs set up and partners in place to help you disperse this gear out throughout the community.
And it's working out incredibly.
Fantastic.
We had a guy in, what was it, Nevada, I think it was, who said, hey, I have some gear I want to deliver. And how in the world he got my name, I have no idea. And I told him, I said, well, that's wonderful. I don't know quite how we're going to work that. Yeah. And next thing I know, my buddy Doug Dixon, he said, well, my wife and I are going to be down there. We're going right by that place. We'll pick it up.
Perfect.
What kind of gear are you looking for? Mainly trout fishing gear, or does it matter?
I think at the moment, trout fishing gear is probably the big one. We've done a lot with Fallen Outdoors, and of course, those guys, you know, salmon, steelhead, that sort of thing. Yeah. But I think trout gear for the kids is probably the priority. Some stuff's kind of hard to deal with, you know, fly fishing gear. Yeah. Things of that nature.
The kid stuff is always needed, and that really, you know, at the core of it, that's who we want to recruit into getting them involved in the outdoors, get them exposed to it. Hopefully, it resonates, and they get this willingness and wantingness to continue to do that activity. So do us a favor, go to Rods and Reels in Need Facebook page, or look up Larry Stamp on Facebook, friend him, like or follow Rods and Reels in Need. Get on there and help out and donate. This next week through the holiday season, get to a local tackle shop, Cabela's, Walmart, Kmart, if you're in Tacoma, any place that's selling rods and reels, you can pick up a rod and reel combination for $20, for a kid's pole, 6-7 foot trout rod, small tackle box with some trout gear in it, and get a hold of Larry on Facebook, and let's help him out and get him some gear this week. That would be great.
He's got his 501c3, so it's tax write-off.
Yeah, he's ready to go. Yep. Any questions you have, they can direct them to you. Thanks so much for doing this and initiating. I know you just started this about March this year, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, we launched in March as well, so there you go. Local community partners, right?
Awesome. I love it.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, Larry, for coming in. Get on Facebook and do that for us. Do us a favor, do yourselves a favor. Help out Rods and Reels in Need. All right, with that, we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back. Hey, it's been a while since we've been in the bait lab, Barnum. Tonight it is actually a bait lab. Did a Sportco Steelhead seminar a couple weeks ago. Oddly enough, up there at Sportco, well attended, talked about 8 different presentations for presenting bait to Steelhead. One of the ones I was showing or demonstrating was tying small bait spawn sacks utilizing Potski trout eggs and how to put that all together, and also kind of the brine mixture I store those in and for reasons why. Anyway, a lot of folks were asking, how do you make these? What does it take to put them all together? Decided as we jump in here for some Steelhead discussion before the holidays and take our little break next week, it'd be nice to get you that information so when these rivers drop, you can at least go out in pursuit of steelhead. I'm here to tell you, Barnum, these little things work fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great bait alternative. You don't have to use salmon or steelhead skein to be fishing eggs or bait for steelhead. I'm going to show you how to do that when we come back in the bait lab right here on FHN.
Sterl Inc. is located in Puyallup, Washington. Sterl Inc. is your neighborhood quality one-stop shop for your team, outdoor clothing, screen printing, and embroidery. At Sterl Inc., we are passionate about the outdoors and our environment. We only use environmentally safe products. If you fish, chances are you're getting a discount. At Sterl Inc., we take pride in working with the customer to get you exactly what you need. Let us help you with all your screen printing and embroidery needs at SterlInkPrints.com.
Hey, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We are here in the bait lab. It's been several weeks since we've been in the bait lab just because, well, we've had a lot of other things going on, and we didn't really have a lot of fishing to talk about as of late, but now it's pre-steelhead season, or we're actually right into it. Once this water drops, you're going to want to be ready. Now, I am pretty much a go-to bait guy. I always have some type of bait in the boat with me when I'm chasing steelhead, especially early season for the hatchery fish. Got to have some type of bait. For the last several years, for maybe 5 or 6 years, I really haven't fished egg skein for steelhead all that much. Typically, if I'm going to fish eggs, I've switched over to tying these little spawn bags for a number of reasons. One, I, for the most part, will cure up my egg skeins, albeit salmon or steelhead, for me doesn't matter, and I turn those into eggs that I'm going to fish for salmon. Typically under a bobber, whether it's suspended or bobber dogging or what have you. But most of my egg skeins go to cures that I use for salmon. Fall chinook, spring chinook, what have you. When it comes to steelhead, I do like to use baits, but I also like to fish a bait that's a little more durable. I can bobber dog for longer distances and longer length of time. And I don't have to worry about trying to come up with eggs this time of year going into the season if I don't have any skein that I haven't cured up yet, okay? So something that's always available, Potski trout eggs. And I like to get them in a multitude of colors. They come out with a wide variety nowadays. We have options. We have Gold Deluxe that has actually gold glitter in there, which is attracted to for trout. Steelhead respond to it as well. Orange Deluxe, Yellow Jacket. These are the new natural-looking eggs that have a shrimp scent to them. Now, the reason I use multiple colors is because steelhead key in on contrast, and they're really, they're driven by color and contrast. So I like to tie up these little spawn bags, and basically what we're talking about is making these little egg sacs right here that are very simple to tie. Proportionally, you can make them all pretty much the same size. You put a couple of the Mike's floaty pills in there and tie them off, and they work fantastic. They're durable. They fish for a long time. You're fishing when these are on, and you don't have to worry about putting them into an egg loop or securing them in any way. You just simply put your size 1 or size 4 hook right through the mesh, and it literally just hangs there and goes along for a ride. You can fish that as long as you need to. Sometimes you can actually fish them for 15-20 minutes. If they haven't gotten all beat up on the rocks and whatnot, still look good, you can pop them off your hook, throw them back in this little scent mixture I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and put it back on and fish it later once it grabs a little more scent. So how do we get there? It's pretty simple. First of all, we have the Mike's spawn net. It's just basically mesh. It's real light mesh. It comes in a variety of colors. Typically I'll use orange, red, or even the chartreuse. You can get it in the pre-cut, which is what I like to do, so I don't have to mess around cutting them, or you can get it in the rolls of various colors. Okay, it all works. I like the pre-cut because it's a really good pre-cut size that works well for making this size of bait for steelhead. The other thing you need is some of the magic thread. That also comes in different colors. It's all elastic thread. It works very well. I just typically stick with the lighter stuff, this white, and it secures really tight. You don't even have to tie knots with it, which I'll show you. Just simply multi-whip it around the top of it and pop it off. Once it's pulled tight, it stays in place. Works great. And of course, you need the bait sacks floaters. These little colored floaty balls, which you put 3 or 4, 5 of them in each spawn sack, depending on which size you get. And again, multiple colors in each one simply gives you color contrast and adds a little more buoyancy to your presentation. So really easy to do. One thing I do is I take these little spawn mesh pre-cuts, I lay them on a lid to a jar of eggs because it gives me kind of just a little catch area to put them eggs into. Now, I had taken multiple colors of eggs and I've just put them in this little tub here because I had been tying a bunch of them and this is what was left over. I got like 3 different colors of eggs. Typically, I will put about 12 eggs or so, grabbing say 3 different colors, 4 eggs or so out of each one. We'll go a little bigger here just to make sure you guys can see that. See how nice that just sits right there in the lid. It doesn't roll off the table, doesn't go anywhere. It just sits right here and allows me to add more stuff to it. Now I take some of these little floaty pills. Again, I don't really care on the colors. I'm going to drop 4 of those in there just to add extra color and buoyancy. And now I simply am going to grab the corners on this. I don't need any fancy tying mechanism or anything like that. You just kind of grab this together. okay? And you're gonna give that a couple spins and secure that just like this. Make sure the corners grab. Looks like I got one of them popping out there. That's okay. Now I take this magic thread and I'm just gonna basically spin this around really tight. As I'm pulling that on there, you just pull it tight, okay? And wrap it on itself and break that off. Now, because that's already tight, I can just simply cut this, drop it right in there, okay? And that is done, all right? That's all there is to it. You can see the glitter in there from the eggs. The ones I've tied before have taken on a little more red color because they're soaking in this mixture. Basically, this mixture is the Potskie's nectar, the egg nectar, which is 100% egg juice, which they get after they cook down the trout egg. So they capture the juice, they dye it all red now. It's the only color you can get. Stuff works fantastic. Smells like eggs. Actually, when it hits the water, it milks out like eggs because it's natural 100% egg juice. Other things I mix that with, I'll put in some liquid krill. I don't particularly want to put the powder in. I dump the liquid in because it's it's liquid, obviously, and it mixes really well with the nectar. And I'll add in a little anise, okay? Put in a little bit of Mike's anise in there. Just to add a little extra sweetness to it. Mix that up, and I literally just build those little spawn bags, those trout egg spawn bags, and dump them right into the mixture and just let them soak. I can guarantee you that Steelhead respond to these very well. I've had these in my refrigerator at times up to an entire season and then into the next season, fishing early winter steelhead brats, and have had success. They don't spoil, they don't mold, they don't go bad. All of this stuff has been cooked. You know, the egg juice has been cooked, and the eggs have been cooked, and so there's really no area or room for bacteria living in here. Simply by mixing up that liquid, letting them soak in that forever, adding extra scent, and allowing them just to stay in there, you simply pop one out, put it on your hook, and you are fishing. Whether you suspend it under a float, whether you drag it bobber dogging is what works really well. It's buoyant, albeit at times neutral buoyant, depending on how many floaty pills you put in there or how many eggs. But you can mix and match. Try different trout egg colors, try different mesh colors, mix your liquid up, nectar, anise, krill. Works really well together in combination thereof. Again, Steelhead respond to these. They work fantastic. I would recommend you give them a try if you're looking for a novel alternative when it comes to using bait for hatchery steelhead. All right, with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. We will be in studio with Chris and Skylar once again talking about Titan Outdoors and Little Titans and really put the end cap on this program they're doing, how it benefits children, and how you can help. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right here on FHN.
Sterling is located in Puyallup, Washington. Sterling is your neighborhood quality one-stop shop for your team, outdoor clothing, screen printing, and embroidery. At Sterling, we are passionate about the outdoors and our environment. We only use environmentally safe products. If you fish, chances are you're getting a discount. At Sterling, we take pride in working with the customer to get you exactly what you need. Let us help you with all your screen printing and embroidery needs at sterlingprints.com.
Hey, welcome back to FHN. We are now back here in the studio, obviously. We have Chris and Skylar back in the hot seat to continue talking a little bit about what?
Before you get going too fast, I had some questions about your how-to in there.
You do?
Yeah.
You personally?
He does.
Well, we
He's
were
been
just a
chomping
little
at the
bit
bit.
curious.
On the glitter?
No. But do you have a recommended amount of anus you like to put on your ball sack?
Wow.
He just said that.
Wow.
It's been killing him ever since.
I had to do it.
First of all, it's anus. And no, I don't. Whatever feels right, Barnum, right? Whatever feels right.
Come on, it was like the big elephant in the room. We gotta have the joke.
You know what? Probably everybody out there went there except me.
Yeah, exactly. You know, everybody was thinking it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the first time that's ever crossed my mind, and it's gone. I'm not even thinking about it. So, this is, there's a lot of support for that in particular tutorial there, Barnum. So suck it. Okay, let's get back to regular scheduled programming. Chris and Skylar, I want to talk more about the Low Titan. So you select the handful of kids. Do you know how many kids are coming this year?
We are going to try to narrow it back down to 12, I think. Yeah.
Because I would think every kid that you add you have to bring on more help, don't you?
Well, it's not just the help; it's the sponsors and the donations that come in. Instead of asking people for 12 items, now we got to go to 14 items. Or we got a whole bunch of taxidermists that actually provide mounts. We'll go into this, but
every kid gets
a mount.
It's a full
mount.
Yep,
free.
That is amazing.
And they will pick that up at the banquet in January.
How about that?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Let's say we have 12 kids.
Okay.
You got a 4-day camp. Do a portion of those kids go out on day one and hunt?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you can't take all 12 out. It's 500 acres, but there's got to be room enough to get them out there and be away from each other, right?
Chris puts together a tight schedule, and then Jamie comes along and changes everything.
Screws it all up?
Yeah.
I know how that goes, Barnum.
So you're his Jamie. And I try to put together a schedule just so we have a basic time frame to try to follow. Yeah. It does get kind of switched up here and there, and some circumstances are relevant to we have to change and make this happen. But we keep to a certain amount, and we try to take a certain group out in the morning. So basically, I set it up to where we have X amount of kids go out in the morning. They're usually back either when they harvest their animal or they're noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, to come eat. The second group goes out in the evening time, and then same thing on the next day.
Gotcha.
And then if we have leftover hunters that haven't had success yet, they usually stay out or they go out on the last day again. We have, knock on wood, yet to have someone not successful.
Oh, so every hunt thus far has been successful?
Over 70 kids have now gone on
harvested
successful hunts.
That is amazing. So if you're on day one and you're on the morning rotation, you harvest your animal. Now what do you do for the rest of the time they're at camp?
They get the whole camp experience. I mean, there's a bonfire, fire pits going all the time.
Yeah.
Kids are playing. We got games set up.
Cool.
Shooting class. There's a pond. I mean, kids go get dirty and wet and muddy.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the kids their cell phones are put away.
Oh yeah.
The electronics are gone.
Perfect.
And this is a time for the kids to have not just the whole hunting experience, but a whole camp experience.
Yeah.
They bring their animal back, and we have the taxidermists there that help them skin it. Help them break it down.
Teach them how.
Teach them how to break it down. Joel Swecker from Black River Taxidermy, he's been there the past couple of years, and he gives lessons with it to the kids and shows them what
how to do it, what to cut, where to cut.
Proper way to cape it. And yeah,
it's got to be pretty exciting for the kids too when you have kids back at camp and somebody's successful and they bring that animal to
It is so awesome. We come rolling down the side by sides and they flock to the pole.
Oh, I bet.
And it's a really cool because it's cool for the kids that are all running, and it's an amazing experience for the kid that is pulling in. Yeah, because he's looking at all these kids. They want to share in his or her experience and what happened, and the questions start right off the bat. What happened? Where did you where did you get it? And
how far out are these kids shooting? I mean, how close can you get them to these sheep?
We have had shots within 50 yards, and our longest was 6 something.
Do they stay kind of herded up? You guys go out there and know generally where they're at?
It's different each year.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's the funny thing is, it's such a big, rugged chunk of land. We've had mornings or days where we've started off and we are like, oh man, we can't find a ram to save our lives.
Yeah. Right.
And they're everywhere. We just can't find them.
They're just out there free roam, right?
They are out there free.
Let them go.
You see a group that's over here on this end of the ranch, and by the time you run back, grab a kid, get up here and start trying to figure out where they went, they're clear over here.
Yeah. Right.
They've gone down a canyon, up a cliff.
And they're by no means tame. Like, they're not going to let you walk up to them.
There are a handful that are just like deer. They're all, and I always tell people they're like us going hunting. I've been out hunting, and I have seen a deer, or several deer, and I can literally stand there and stare at that thing and film it for as long as I want, and it'll sit there and look at me, and it'll go about feeding. You get a few that are like that. You get some that are like whitetails, and if you flinch, if they even get a glimpse of you, they're gone like that.
Yep.
You know, and they'll run circles around you.
Right.
So we've had kids that have gone all day hunting, and we're talking climbing up cliffs, circling the hills. Yeah. Getting shot opportunities, and it's a great learning experience, especially when they have that happen, because they'll miss, and calm down, we all miss. It happens. Now this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get back on them and do it again.
Emotional experience for some kids, first time they've killed something. How's that?
You know, and I forget about that. You know, from the first time I shot a buck. Yeah. You know, you kind of forget about what that buck fever was like.
Sure.
But I had a young girl, not last year, but the year before, and she'd been on this ram for a few minutes, and I looked at her and she just kept getting shakier and shakier and shakier, and she never pulled the trigger. And she looked at me, she goes, I don't know what's wrong with me. She goes, I have these shakes, I have this feeling, I don't know what it is.
Little Courtney.
Yeah.
I was there too.
And I was like, that was the coolest experience to see her experience the buck fever.
And he's not kidding. And we're talking from this to physically, and she's just like I don't know what's happening to me.
And you know, we explained to her, and actually Caleb came in on that hunt too and talked to her a little bit, and we got her on another ram a couple hours later, and she made a perfect shot.
And she made a really great shot.
Nice. And let's talk about the banquet real quick before we run out of time here. When is it? Where is it? How do folks get involved? How many folks attend this thing? How do monies get generated to help support this foundation?
So it's kind of January 25th.
January 25th.
2020. It starts at 5 o'clock at the Tillamook County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
Last year we had about 250 people.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's been growing each year.
Yeah.
We've got rifles, we've got all sorts of things that go up for auction and chance drawings and things like that. And we're looking for people to donate. Whatever, anything. We've had household goods. We've had, anything, chairs. Your dad made us some custom wooden chairs this year.
Made a dresser.
All gets auctioned off.
Last year.
Auctioned off for raising money.
Yep.
And that's our biggest event. I mean, that's where
the money comes from.
So donations for the auction is a huge way to help out.
Absolutely.
And it just dawned on me that maybe the first year you took some kids hunting that were 13, 14 years old. Those kids are now 18, 19 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, we have one right now that is in the Marine boot camp.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's coming home this next week.
Yeah, but that's one of the coolest parts. We talked about this. We tell everybody that after the camp, that next fall, and we get a text from one of those kids. They shot their first buck or their first doe or
bear, elk, deer.
So many kids have gone on to be successful, and they're continuing to to hunt and fish and do stuff outside.
And a lot of these are kids that their parents have come to us at camp and said, we didn't even realize they wanted to hunt.
Sure.
And now they're messaging us still to this day that not only are they going hunting, they're successful, and they want to go more.
Well, what's awesome is you're exposing them to something new, and if it resonates, and it, you know, we talked earlier with Larry in fishing and recruitment, right? This is an amazing program to recruit kids into hunting, which is falling off faster than fishing, right? So any programs like this that are up and running and you can find a way to support simply by donating goods or money towards the banquet, and you know, money's towards the program to get these kids out hunting. It's a game changer. It's a life changer, right?
And we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so it is a tax write-off, like you were saying earlier.
Well, real cool. Are you still getting out making hunting videos then? Or
we are. It's less than, we still film our hunts.
Yeah.
It is less than I used to. Mainly because the more of our focus goes to the kids with this camp, and it's more important.
Sure.
You know, there's so much saturation with everything else, you know, hunting wise. We really kind of switched our focus to this, and that I still enjoy filming everything. You know, we just got back from a trip here last month in
Montana,
and we filmed everything, and it turned out great. And, and it was fun. But
now, do you put that stuff on a YouTube channel versus creating DVDs?
We're switching to YouTube. So it's not up and running yet. Actually, there are several hunts on there. It's just not live yet because we're still working on a few. But it will be Titan Outdoors. There's Titan Outdoors Little Titans.
Cool.
So most of our, because we film all the hunts for the kids, so they actually all have gotten DVDs in the past, so they can experience their hunt over and over again.
Oh,
but now we're putting them all on YouTube.
Perfect. So, outstanding program, guys. You guys are doing an amazing job. The text messages are lighting up here. Lots of support for what you're doing. Obviously, it's a well-established program. You're generating a big following, and a lot of people appreciating what you're doing. So, speaking of which, all you new folks logging in here tonight to watch, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, give us a subscribe, and go to our Facebook page. Depending where you're watching right now, hit that follow button, hit that like, give us some support, because we're going to continue to bring programs like this out to the public, make sure those that are unaware become aware, and find out what you guys are doing. Good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Any final words there, Barnum?
No.
Okay.
No. You know, I'd just like to say, you know, it's not just Chris and I and Dixon putting this stuff on. We have a huge group of guys and women that are.
There's so many people we can't list everybody, but there are so many people.
I mean, multitudes of taxidermists and
sponsors. We can't. It's so important to know we cannot do everything without all these people. We have guides, all these people that come and help. And it's amazing group of people that are so selfless and that come and donate their time, and they're donating their time, their trip, they're taking time off of work, they're doing all this stuff to come do this with us.
It's an amazing outpouring of generosity and just, you know, helping, and look what it's doing to these kids. It's absolutely amazing. So
very rewarding.
Yeah, very good. Fantastic work, guys. Keep it up, Larry and you guys, and just the programs you're doing. It's the holiday season. Let's help these guys out. Go to Rods and Reels in Need Facebook page. Go to Titan Outdoors, Little Titans. Log on there. Give them a like. Give them a follow. Check out the banquet coming up January 25th down at Tillamook Fairgrounds, and see if you can dig in the pocket. Give them a little help because they certainly deserve it. All right, with that, gonna jump out for a final break. We come back. We'll be in the kitchen. Close out that cod, zucchini, corn, cream sauce, basil, witch hunt. I don't know whatever's going on. They might even have some fish balls in there and some anus going on.
I was going to say I was going to leave it alone. Or have a cod and fish balls. You should take a break and let Barnum and I do this for a little bit.
We can go off on the cod rant for a long time.
We'd lose every sponsor we have right now. So, okay, we'll jump out for a break. When we come back, we're back in the kitchen to close out the show, and then back here in the studio for a couple just to say good night. So don't go anywhere. You want to finish out this recipe, and it's a good one. We'll be back right here on FHN.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. And we're going to finish up this cod recipe. And you name it?
Basil crusted lean cod with a zucchini corn cake over basil corn sauce.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, we all got it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to finish up the, we have our fish. If you're just joining us, we have our fish already seared off. We have our corn cakes already done. So we're just going to start working on our sauce.
Okay.
So we're just
Sounds like the pan's ready.
Oh yeah, pan is ready. Okay, so we get everything all ready to go here because it's going to go fast. So just a little bit of oil. We're going to add a little extra bit of garlic because garlic is good.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, just like 30 seconds on the garlic just to take the rawness off. Perfect. We have our half cup of wine we're going to add.
And you've taken the pan off the stove.
Yes, so it doesn't, because sometimes if you have it like super hot, it'll light on fire. If you're going like this and pouring it in there, it could go whoop right in the bottle and boof. Explode in your hand.
You've seen that happen?
I've seen it happen one time.
Not to you?
Not to me. I saw a buddy, it did to a buddy, and I was like, really, dude? Is this your first time?
Yeah.
You know, cooking?
Oh.
So there's a half cup of white wine, about another half cup of cream.
It's just the heavy cream?
Yeah, just some heavy cream. Okay, we're gonna let that reduce down. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to get our food processor all ready to go for this, and we have a strainer here, over here ready to go so she can strain it because I don't know, the sauce I want it to be kind of smooth.
Oh, okay.
So we're just going to reduce this down just a little bit. You can add some salt, pepper now.
All right.
Kosher salt. I saw you like actually changed up to a lot of kosher salt. And
I did.
I'm looking around the kitchen.
Yes, I have. Yes. I follow directions.
Sometimes.
Probably not according to Dwayne, but I do.
Okay. Perfect. So I don't want this like super reduced down because we're going to add a whole bunch of stuff to this. So.
Oh, you're just putting it right in there.
Yeah, just put it right in there.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our cream, white wine, and garlic mixture there. Set it aside. Okay, so now, remember we had that extra corn? This is where it's going. So we're going to add about...
well, that's the corn and onions.
Yeah, the corn and onions that are sauteed off.
That was just corn on the cob, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of our basil. And then we're going to add a touch of lemon juice. This is half of lemon I have in here, so I'm going to add like
a medium-sized lemon?
Yeah.
So
we'll start right there.
Okay.
Okay, so
if you don't have a food processor, can you use like one of those stick mixers? Or
yeah, like the stick blenders that were kind of popular like 10 years ago.
Yeah, well,
you can bust
they're
that
probably
thing out.
still really popular in my kitchen. So what are you trying to say there, Chef? I'm outdated?
You
Old
said
school.
it. Okay, so it is kind of on the thick side. Let me just see this here. So I'm going to add just a touch of water, just kind of thin it out just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, we're also going to let's blend it up. Okay, now we're going to taste it. Remember, you always got to taste for seasoning.
Yes.
You know, don't go get it in your mouth and go, oh, I should have seasoned it. Yeah, you need just a touch more salt, pepper.
It's always good to be able to add some more.
Right, and I think we're going to add another teaspoon of lemon juice.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, if you could strain that into there.
I will.
And we'll start plating. Let's see. All right, we got our corn cakes. I like this guy.
Get to pick and choose.
Pick and choose. Got our beautiful basil seared lingcod right there. And you could use any fish. I mean, I just happened to pick lingcod. I mean, I was kind of thinking about halibut too, but we just kind of
not too much is coming out of there.
No?
Well,
let me see.
Is that going to be enough?
I'll work on it.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so you can see all that pulp in there, and just kind of press it through.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, take care of that.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're just going to drizzle our sauce.
Wow.
There we go.
Great.
Then we have some, well, that didn't work. We have some pickled shallots here. I just soaked these in a little bit of red wine vinegar and a little salt, pepper, and sugar.
Not too much sugar, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, whatever, you know, you want them, how you like them. But, yeah. There you go, guys.
Wow.
Maybe a little extra basil.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Okay.
See? Just like on Sunset Magazine.
Exactly.
There you go, guys. Basil crusted lingcod, zucchini corn cake, basil corn sauce. Ha.
Ha.
Nailed it.
You did nail it. And now we're going to eat it.
All right, guys.
So we'll go ahead and throw it to you guys back in the studio.
Well, we're back. Close this thing out. That was a good presentation by Chef and Sherry.
Yep.
Lingcod, just another alternative, right? I mean, there's a lot of different recipes you can do. That one there, I'm telling you, it's a little involved, but it is well worth the time. Makes them a little different. So, hey, this is our last show of 2019. We will be back January 2nd. Taking a Christmas break through the holidays. Well deserved. You're hitting the road.
I am.
Drive safe.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, my friend.
You too.
Yeah, it's been a good run since March. We come back. 2020 will be a whole new look for FHN. We are going to be cranking lots of things going on. Going to start really getting folks involved. We got a ton of giveaways coming up. We got stuff to start getting out to you folks. Pretty excited about. So stay tuned. Follow us throughout the next week and a half or so via social media. We will be definitely there. And I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We can say Merry Christmas.
We can say Merry. If we were going to say Happy Holidays, I was going to have.
No, I'm going to say Merry Christmas time and time again.
Right.
And look forward to seeing you guys in the new year with all the things we got coming up. Appreciate all your support. Spread our content, get it out there, be relevant. Be safe outdoors. Merry Christmas and God bless.